Right, testing, testing, testing. Can let me know if you're hearing any audio. Right, well, the name of this live stream is trying to get my old version of Xsplit Gamecaster to work. And, well, hopefully the audio is coming through loud and clear. But there's one thing that I can't get to work, and that is the on-screen chat, because Xsplit Gamecaster is now defunct, effectively. A lot of these live streaming platforms like YouTube and Twitch are very wary of this old piece of software trying to connect to YouTube. For example, Gamecaster wasn't allowed to automatically connect to YouTube, and I had to do a manual connection to YouTube in order to get the live stream actually up and running. But what I can't do is have the overlay of the live chat on my screen. It is ceasing to function. I think the last time it did work was when I was with Restream, which I am no longer with. I used to have an account with them to have multi-channel streaming, but that ceases to be. I'm now streaming direct from a PC to YouTube, cutting out the middleman effectively. So unless somebody types something in the chat, which I'm looking at on my phone, to tell me that they're hearing the audio okay, I will be none the wiser. But in the meantime, we are in a snooker room here. This isn't a tournament, it's just, it may well be a challenge room. I'm not even sure whether it's a challenge room or not. It possibly could be. And we have Tarek. Where's he from? Is he from Turkey or somewhere like that? No, he's from Egypt. My apologies. And Matt, MC Clarkey from the UK, playing a frame of snooker. At the moment, Tarek's got the slender lead. And he was trying to actually break the reds open when there was actually two reds still in the open, which is probably what he should have done. The black not going on its spot because the red is covering the black spot. Well, Matt is in. I mean, he's got a thin cut and a red, but again, in snooker, you really should be running for cover. Now, he's doing the right thing, and that length in the cue ball is very good. And that's now got Matt in trouble. Hampered over the brown. This is very touchy to try and get the thin edge. He's going to come down the left side. Well, he's actually caught it a lot thinner. But again, that'll do for length of cue ball. And what Tarek should be doing is going up to the pack and having a look to see if there's anything that's on here. And you've got to get these edges really thin or you're going to bring a red up the table into play. And likewise, this shot that Matt's got, he's going to go for the pot, I think. Again, cue ball heading down close to the green. Tarek's already got a slender lead and he doesn't really need to be taking any risks. Well, that shot there is just surrender the table to Matt, and if Matt can get a good safety this time, trying to use the yellow. He hasn't quite got the legs, I don't think. But what he has done is he's only left the red at the very back, nearest the back rail, and there's an edge of a red behind the black that Tarek can get to. Now each time Tarek plays a shot like this, he's conceding the table to Matt to come up with a good safety. Matt's yet to come up with a really good one. In fact, Tarek's left a red on, so that was a poor shot by Tarek. You've got to get that snooker brain working against Matt. But to play safeties where you're just staying up at the top end of the table, you're more or less giving up the table and asking for trouble. Matt's now got the pink into play, although this is no easy shot, this red. And that's what happens when you don't play a lot of snooker. And he's left a red on. And Tarek's got a red, a pink, and he's got another red into this middle pocket here. Or, if he can get around the corner on it, he's got it into the other corner. And he's got maybe too straight in this pink. No, he's got an angle. Now, if he punches this in and gets up the table, he can get that red into the other corner. The angle's there to do it. The only thing is he's not really hit it. He needed to get higher than that so he could get out of there clean. So if he's going to play that red, he's now going to do a lot of damage here, and no guarantee he's going to have a shot in the colour if he does get the red. And there lies the problem. He needed to get loads of top nut cue ball to try and spin through those reds. And of course now, you've also got a red down in the bulk half of the table. And that cue ball needs to travel, and that's not bad in terms of covering that red, not leaving it on. But Matt's got a very easy safety here, or he's got a straight in pot for the red. And he'll have a pink. And all of these reds are available now, so Tarek could have played his last shot in this frame. Every possibility that could be the case. Well, he's overhit that. He's overhit that by quite a margin. I can't believe he's played for this red. Or if he has, he's underhit it because he's leaving himself a really dodgy cut on it. Well, Tarek now, the position he finds himself in, he's got a healthy lead. He's going to take on the blue. Now, again, if he can come off the back rail and up the left side, he's hit that far too hard. You know, that could have been played a lot more controlled. I mean, he needed to take another 4 foot off that shot and he would have been lying plumb on that red at the back of the pack. So the frame still isn't safe here. And that's going to catch the blue. Well, this is sort of now or never for Matt. He's, what is he, 37? Oh, I don't know how much he is behind, but he's behind enough. There's 51 in the table. And if Matt can pot this red and get out of there clean, he might be able to come out for this black. back into the same pocket as long as he doesn't scratch in the side pocket. Where's the cue ball going? Well, it's a tough shot in the black, but if he plays this correctly, the first problem he's got is the black's going to go in its spot, which is not going to help his cause as far as where that red's sitting. In fact, if it doesn't go in its spot, it's going to go in the blue spot. And that red at the back of the pink, I think you can get it into that middle pocket. Or he might be able to play it down into this bottom pocket and bulk. Or is he on the red above the black? Oh, it's tight. It's tight. Now we need the referee to call that one. And it's legal. But now he's got to put this black away. Well, he could have done with a little nudge on that pink. Well, certainly the pink doesn't go past, or sorry, the red doesn't go past the pink. So Matt looking for distance here, and he's just going to leave an edge. And that's a good safety. Tarek can obviously hit the red. He's going to push it towards the black. And in fact, he needs to use that black as a bit of a stopper and get good length on this cue ball. He's not hit this again. He's trying to bail out behind the black. And that's a very risky shot to take on. And that's the problem. He hasn't got the cover. And he's asking for it here, Tarek. These sort of negative safety shots. And Matt puts it away. Now how's his luck for a colour? Well, he's certainly on the blue. And again, the problem with that is he's going to have to stun this in firm if he's going to draw back and try and get a shot in the yellow. This is by far not easy. Can you hear me, Matt? There's nobody else in the stream actually saying anything, but can you actually hear what I'm saying? I'm testing this old software. Right, that's good. The only problem, as I say, is the on-screen chat doesn't work anymore in this old Gamecaster software, so I can only read the chat on my phone. Well, Tarek, as I said, was asking for trouble. You know, playing these negative safeties, you've got to get them nailed on. If you don't get them nailed on, you're going to leave your opponent in, and Matt's got a chance to pinch this. One more good shot, and he should be home and dry here. That needs to have the legs. It needs to keep going. Well, he's going to have to work the cue ball. He's going to have to put left-hand side in this to check it back across. And you've got to go through with the stroke here. And that's very well played. And I'm afraid, Tarek, if you try and bail out and chicken out on your safeties, you're going to get done up against the class players. And that's what's exactly happened there. I mean, Tarek really, you know, it's about controlling the frame. When you've got yourself into a little lead, what you've then got to do is either, you know, go for the finish line if you've got the opportunity to do it, but you've got to control your opponent. And, you know, you've got to come up with good strategy to do it. And, well, Tarek now loses his place. King Eric is in the room. I presume he's in there specifically as a player. We'll find out if he's awake or not. But Well, with this guy's rating, he just looks like more cannon fodder for Matt. Yeah, you'll see a lot of players playing snooker. Well, not a lot, to be honest with you. There isn't a lot of players play snooker in VP4, but you know, you've got to have a snooker brain. You know, it's all very well playing snooker, but and when I talk about a snooker brain, you've got to know when to go for it and when not to. But you've certainly got to work on your safety game. A lot of these players who play snooker now and again, they're in love with potting the balls, but the problem with that is they're not doing anything to stop their opponent potting them. Black looks as if it's tied up top, which is always the most annoying thing for a snooker player, is the black getting tied up from the break off. Matt misses a not too difficult red. You see, there is a red at the top of the pink there that does go, but you got to get that cue ball well out of there. And Eric has come up with a decent safety. I mean, that is pretty damn good. I mean, of course, Matt's not going to have any problem. He's going to go around the corner and come up into the back of the pack here and leave nothing on. It needs to have legs, though. It needs to go. I mean, that is a fairly common safety when you're snookered in bulk, just to go around the angles and drop into the back of the pack. That's something regular snooker players play without really blinking an eye. Well, Eric's looking for a way back to bulk here, and he's got to get this red thin again. He can't hit it too thick. He's going to bring it over the left-hand side of the table like that. See, that was far too thick. But you would think it's going to be a hard task for Matt to get in and score heavily here, with the black being out the game, the pink's out the game. Again, there's a thin edge off the red, just a very thin edge, and run down, try and get behind that green. That's the shot I'd be playing. He looks as if he's hitting this far too thick. What's he trying to do? He's going all out for the pot. I mean, fair play to him, but that is risky. One red that goes above the pink, and the angle in the green. This is looking far too heavy again. So these players like Tarek's, when we saw him in that last frame there, hitting things far too heavy, not got the pace of the shot at all. And he had a fairly easy red to get on there. That was not difficult to get on that red. But that's what's lacking in a lot of players, having that touch. Well, centuries come when they come, but in situations like this, it's in VP form, a lot of the time it's scrappy. Well, this is given a chance for Eric to either, well, there's nothing on there, so he can get that red out of bulk and keep the cue ball up there. Try and use the green as cover, and he may well have played that pretty good again. That's a good shot. Now again, there's danger here. He's trying to just rest to the back of those reds and get cover, and he has done. Another easy safety for Eric. He's going for the double, and that's something that unless there's a good chance of keeping things safe, most snooker players wouldn't play the double like that. And this is giving Matt a chance to not only pot the red but free up the black. Well, he's freed the black, but he's going to have to go elsewhere for his colour. Now this just needs to slow up, and he'll have the red at the back of the group there, and that's a good shot. Now that red might afford him the chance to get on to the black, but now you need to look at where the black spot is again, and the black spot I think is still more or less covered. And if it doesn't spot there, it's going to go up into bulk on the brown spot. Well, it does spot, so that means it will go from one side here. But he didn't have the angle to stay for the black, but he's played a good shot onto the blue. Now, is he going to try and get in and do some damage here, or is he going to just drop this in? Because I don't know whether he can hold for that red on the right hand side. You know, he's jacked up, now he's going to scratch, is he? Nope. So it could have been a few more points there. We've now got one red in the middle of the table, which again really should be the one that Eric's playing safe off of. He should be punting that back up in amongst the reds and putting the cue ball into bulk here. Well, again, Eric's playing far too risky shots here. I mean, this is no good. He might be getting away with it, then again he might not. He's left a couple of reds on here. This is what you don't do. I mean, if you're trying to be a hero, but just potting any ball that you see, then you're just heading for disaster. So it's one thing playing particular games. There has to be the proper strategies in playing particular games, whether it be snooker or black ball, 8-ball, and all its different formations. In snooker, I keep saying, you have to have a snooker mind. And Eric is one of these players where he's desperate just to pot balls and maybe look good, but that's not going to get him anywhere. There might be the odd day where he puts 2 or 3 of them kind of shots together and gets away with it, but against classier players, he's going to get picked off. He's just going to be like carrying for the vultures as they strike. Bit of a messy bottom end or top end of the table here. You've got the black only going into one pocket. The pink does go into the corner and the side pocket there. And the 2 balls just a bit in the way. It needs to be tidied up and put back onto its spot at the first opportunity. And now's just as good an opportunity. So that makes it a wee bit tidier. Now we know, I think, that black does go, so Matt should be just dropping this red in and staying there. Then again, maybe he doesn't think it goes. Maybe I've got it wrong. I'm pretty certain that black goes, but maybe again the angle was a bit much for him to actually hold that dead weight to get that black. I'm pretty certain you can get enough of it for it to go. And now Matt has gone through the reds. He's got a 35-point lead. And the stun causes a miss in the red. Now, I think, now that Eric comes to the table, now if I'm Eric, I'm certainly looking to pot a red. The problem is this red is far too straight, and you could follow this in. So he's just dropping through for the pink into the side. So at the moment, if he follows through here, he's got the red back into the corner, he's got another pink into the side, and all of these three reds here are all available. He's got a chance to get himself back in this. That one's certainly dead. It's going nowhere as it is. Now, the problem with the shot he's just played there is he's played what I would call a nothing shot, because it wasn't any great attempt to control the cue ball to get on the next red. He's now left himself really awkward. Got a very dodgy cut into the side, which he's got. Nudges the brown. That holds the cue ball up. He's got a shot in the green. He's got a long shot in the blue, which has got a very slight angle, but you need to stun this firm to get the cue ball across. And again, you see, this is where players chicken out and playing the right shot. You know, he's dropped through. He could have stunned that firm and had a much easier shot than that, and he's ended up going for a double again, and he's ended up scratching, and there's a red down in the bulk end of the table. So that is his fatal move, because Matt should be sealing the deal here with this visit. Ball in hand in bulk, red into the side, blue to follow more than likely. Maybe he's going up for the pink, or maybe he's trying to get up for the black. Has he got there though? He's just got there. So you can see the frailties in players like Eric, where he's not really 100% sure of how to go about things. I think Tarek is still sitting in the wings, waiting for his turn again, and it won't be long before he'll be getting a turn, because Matt now is 35 in front. This red will leave Eric needing a snooker, and this black will make sure that it's frame over. Needs to hold up. Well, he's married to the blue. Cutting the pink. Overcut it. But that is more than enough to secure the frame. I'll have a quick drink. So Eric now in a whole heap of trouble, and he concedes. And that's, well, since I've come into the room, that's 2 in a row. In fact, Well, tell a lie, I'm counting myself. I'm forgetting that there only is the two of them in the room. Tarek has left the building. Right, well, I think what we'll do is we will leave these guys to it, head out into the lobby and see if we've maybe got a tournament going on. And we do have. And it is 9 ball on the 10-footer, race to 5. So we'll hop in here and see Stefan, or what's left of Stefan versus Romario, if we can get into the room. Race to 5, and it might not be that long to go because Stefan has got Romario in deep doo-doo here. 4-1 lead for Stefan. And unless Romario gets cover, this could be all over because Stefan's going to roll the one in, possibly leave a 2-9 combo down the rail to seal the match. Well, he isn't. He's not even thought about it, but I think that would have been well worth a go. I don't think he could have ended up in any better line than he could have there on that 2-9 combo. And having made that decision, he now has to find his way out, and the immediate problem is he's not sitting great on this 3 ball. And having said that, he's potted it, but he's now lying really awkward in the 4. Dodgy cut, this 4 ball. Oh, he's played it well. He's going to have to play the bedhead cut in the 5 ball. And Romario, well, his existence in this tournament is hanging by a thread. And the cut goes in. And this is going to be far from easy. The 6 ball does not pass the 8. And it was almost all over there for Romario. But he's got a lifeline. And he needs a good shot here to get this cue ball around and out for the 8. Which he's done. Well, why he felt he had to draw up to the top side of the 9 ball, I do not know. And that's what happens when you stun them in at that pace. So this is game, set and match to Stefan. And we can head back out to the lobby. So that was a sellout by Romario. He didn't have to get to the top side of that 9 ball. And Mad Mitch is playing Liquid at the moment, so let's head in there. Well, you can see how this match is going. If the two of them started at the same time as the other guys, this match is absolutely crawling because Liquid's got a 2-0 lead. Well, one good pot in this 7 ball for Mitch, and he should be home and dry, but he's overcut the 7. And likewise for Liquid, thin cut in the 7, and he's got to just get the pace right. And again, that's far too heavy. A touch like a sledgehammer, that's a terrible shot. That should have been a lot more controlled. Having to play the double and doesn't get off the bank, as they say in pool. And well, that was all from a very poor shot there by Liquid. There's no, he hit that far too heavy. Never got himself anywhere near decent on that 8 ball. And so Mad Mitch ends up scratching and gifting it to Liquid. Well, this break is dry. 1 ball in the middle of the table. Now again, there's an opportunity here to play a decent safety. If you cut that 1 ball in towards the 9, you can run into the long grass. But you see, Liquid's, again, it just, it puzzles me that players don't see the half-decent safety. That's a bit I don't understand. I mean, there was a good shot there to play onto that 9 ball, to use the 9 ball as a stopper and run this cue ball back into the kitchen and possibly get cover behind that 5 and 2. Well, Mitch having a go at the 2-9 combo, far from easy. And that's left Liquid in with a free go here. First task is to find a way to pot this 3 ball, because there is room past the 7 and needs to avoid the 6. Again, this shot here, you just pot the 4. Drop in behind the 5. You see, again, he's played a shot which is a nothing shot as far as position goes. Because you've got to be thinking about your pace of your shot that you're playing. And this is where you put things together. This is how you complete a stroke and you play a shot. You've got to think about the pace of the shot that you're playing to get on that 5 ball. He could have just dropped that 4 ball into the top right hand corner and finished above the 5 and played it long into this bottom left hand corner. But he hit it far too heavy, pretty much not any sort of control on it at all. Liquid kicks at the 4, gets a legal hit. Mitch, now again, the angle in this 4 ball, the cue ball wants to go up towards the 9 and up above the 5. You see, Mitch is sort of riding his luck to get a position, and he's actually landed plumb, I think, on this 5 into the side. Let's have a look. Well, he couldn't have played that any better, but maybe he got lucky, or we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, the 5 ball just has the legs. Now again, with this shot, you've got to get right up into the table if you're going to try and play the 7 into the corner up in the top left-hand side. You've got to get right into the table and avoid the scratch. And that's a good shot. Now, once again, the angle he's got here, you just roll this in so that you're rolling out there and leaving the long 8. So far, so good. Now, with this one, same thing. You just roll this in, let the cue ball roll forward. You've got to get past the side pocket with the cue ball, though, a wee bit. Let's see if he does it. And that's pretty good. That's pretty much on the money. But again, he's missed a nothing pot on the 8 ball. You know, there was nothing difficult about it. He got the second part of the shot right, but he's missed a straight in 8 ball. And you just cannot do that. Well, the run into the 9 ball hasn't done Liquid any harm. Well, he's got to get a little bit of draw into this cue ball here, I think. Or as long as he thinks he's missing the scratch, well, he was fine. He was actually okay to play it. So it's a comfortable lead for Liquid. And how many balls went in there? Oh, the cue ball was one of them. So Mitch has ball in hand, but it's a big task for an 1800 odd player to run this table. For the simple matter is that it's about your ability to control the cue ball. Well, he's lucky actually rubbed onto that too there. But he's given himself a good angle to come up into the table again and play the 3 ball into that same pocket. And now with this shot, he's got to stay up in the top half of the table as we look. It's the only way he's going to have a shot in the 4 because it doesn't go past the 9. And he would like to take it into the right side pocket. And again, overhit that by a country mile, misses the pot. Cue ball rubs the 9 ball and scratches. And so Liquid, he's got a similar task here. He's got to cut the 3 in, get the angle to. He should be. Let me have a look at what he's got here. Yeah, he's dead straight on this, and he's trying to spin up the table, forgetting about actually potting the ball. I mean, how easy is it to miss a ball that's right over the pocket? Well, the reason it is that easy to miss it because you're not paying any attention to it. You're taking it for granted. And he got himself good in the 4 ball, but that counts as nothing when you can't pot the bloody red ball, the 3 ball to start with. And Mitch, again, I have to say, he's not thinking about what he's doing here. I mean, there's no way he can believe in a 4-9 combo. He had to get that cue ball up the table. And if it goes in, it goes in, but if it doesn't, you would think it's game, set, and match. Yeah, that was a big hand. He scratched again. Everything's played sort of not under control with a lot of these players. You know, they're at the mercy of the cue ball themselves, where you should actually be dominating the cue ball. And this is where your technical knowledge and your physics knowledge and that has to come into it to know how to actually control this cue ball. And it's a tough learning process if you're not sticking to it. Now this again should just be a drop in the side pocket for the 9 or get further up the table. He said a little rub in the 9 there. Now can he cut that in? Yes he can. He can cut it up the rail. He's not going to scratch. And this should be game and match here. That's gone to the rail too soon. That's going to hang up, is it? Oh, well, it used all of the pocket, but it's gone in. And so, Vertical Liquid goes through. And I presume that Stefan was waiting on the winner of this match. I haven't looked at the bracket. Where's Stefan? Is he's sitting in away mode? So let's have a quick look and see what we've got here. Yeah, we've got a final now between Stefan and Liquid. Now, on paper, somebody's actually fallen asleep in that room. I don't know who it is. Is it I Just Play a Little? They usually end up in a room and forget that they're in the room. No, it's not him this time. Don't know who it is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Now in this room, we've got Stefan, who really should be the dominant force in this match. Although Stefan has been known to blow hot and cold. but he really should have this match under control. But that depends on how Stefan sees Liquid, because if he messes about too much, he could end up getting himself in trouble. So Stefan needs to get his head screwed on and not take liberties in this match. If Stefan is there, I don't know. I presume he's gonna turn up. Right, here we go. Remember, this is the final race to 5 on the 10-foot table. Lag for the break. Quick reminder to any viewers who might be interested, the semi-final match in the 2026 Virtual 9-Ball World Championship has been set, and that match is between Albinario from Sweden, the defending champion, up against Spectre Dawn from the UK, and that goes ahead on Sunday evening at 8 o'clock in the evening, British summer time. And I have every intention of streaming that match on VP4TV. We've also got the sign-ups open for the next tournament, the next Virtual World Championship, which is Black Ball, and that is going to start on August the 26th. We've already got a few sign-ups in already. There is limited availability. There is a maximum of 32 spots available in that tournament, so if you're thinking about it, you better get yourself in quick. Well, here's a great opportunity for Liquid to put Stefan in trouble here. He can cut off that 2-ball, come down past the 3 and bump into the 6 and 7. And he's trying to use 1 ball to get cover when there was 3 balls over the left side. So again, that's not a great choice of safety shot. The safety shot was a lot easier to drop down onto the 6 and 7. And the reason it was that poor is he's left a shot on for Stefan. The only thing that's actually saving Liquid at the moment is the fact the 6 and 7 are tied up. And if Stefan has an angle on this 4, he might be a bit straight. Yes, he is. He's trying to get a bump and he's ended up scratching. It was just because he was too straight on that. But we saw what almost resulted there from a poor safety by Liquid. And now he ends up having a chance to win the rack. And that cue ball has gone far too far up the table. You know, you're on a 10-foot table and you're leaving yourself more work to do with the cue ball to have a shot in this 8. And again, that's why he's ended up missing the 7, because he's spinning the cue ball up to go over to the right-hand side. So the first mistake there was when he potted the 6 and got far too much draw into the cue ball and left himself far too far away from the 7. And this is why I keep going on and I keep going on about thinking about what you're doing and how you're going to execute the shot. And there's players who sort of play blindly, not really thinking about what they're up to. You can see evidence of it all the time. And that's a sellout from Liquid there. Poor execution. Stefan breaks off in rack number 2. The 8-ball thinks about it. It's gone in. Don't think he's going to have much of a shot in the 1 though. I think you can see most of it. And again, he's got the opportunity of playing a decent safety here. The only danger is he doesn't want to leave the 1 ball in any sort of position where you can play a combo into this 9, because this 9 ball is not going to need that much encouragement to go into that pocket. Of course, the other thing about let me see if I can get where's the shortcut button for this thing on this numpad. I can't remember where it is. That's the plus and minus. Talk amongst yourselves for the moment. Yeah, that's not going to work. But if I do that, that's going to bring up the annotations where I can use them. I can use my lines again, my arrows for the lines of pots, which is quite good. That was the one feature that I liked about the old Gamecaster, is that you could use the lines on the screen. That cue ball's thinking of going. So Stefan, he needs a couple of good shots here. He needs to get a good angle in the 5 so he can get up for the 6. And again, Stefan's done the same thing as what Liquid's done. He's got into that far too much. And he's now left himself a lot more work to do with the cue ball. He's actually judged that not too bad. So the golden rule here is pot the 6 and get right up the table, leave the long, straight 9 ball. It's not going to be difficult. And again, the mistake is made. He's hung it and rattled it in the jaws. And he's going to get away with this, because I think the chances are you're going to run into that 6 ball full in the face and you're not going to pot it going down that side. Commentator's eye says that's what's going to happen. Liquid hoping to get a hit, let alone pot it. And he's got the hit, he's got the pot, and now it's just a simple, straight roll in the 9, cue ball still spinning. This for 1 apiece. Cue ball's gone. Well, ball in hand for Stefan. The 1 ball simple into the side, 2 ball up past the 9 ball, 3 ball in the middle of the table. Now this, for any half decent player, should be an easy enough table for them to get out. And he's already got himself in a bit of trouble here because he's too close to the rails. He's having to jack up. And now he's out of line. And I think he needs to have a bump in this 6 ball maybe. And he's missed the bump. And he's also missed the pot. And Liquid is going to have his chance to steal the rack. Going forward, the pace is a lot better. And again, this is just drop the 5 ball in. The angle will take care of the rest of it, because the cue ball's going to be on the 6 ball. It's all about judging the pace. And he's judged that a lot better. Now, here's the problem. He's too straight in the 6 ball. And the 8 ball's tight past that 9. Well, he's going to give it every chance. He's got the room to do it. He needs to just get this flush to the rail. And cheats the pocket. And it goes. Now, this is not a difficult 9 ball. I mean, you play it at the right pace, it's always going to go in. And suddenly Liquid finds himself in the lead. 4 ball goes into left side. Something else goes in, which might have been the 2 ball. And, well, half a shot in the 1. And I think we've got trouble up ahead here. Because that... Oh no, we haven't. I thought the 8 ball was tight in the back of the 9. It isn't. The 8 ball is certainly available. There is a bit of a problem with the 6 ball in the sense that the 7 ball's interfering with your path towards the 6 ball. You've got to get either over to the right hand side to play it that way, which is what Stefan's doing. And he's just overhit that slightly. Would have liked it sort of parallel with the 6 ball, but he's certainly going to come round for the 7. And once again, Stefan's made the mistake at the critical time, and Liquid's got the chance to pick him off again here in rack number 4. Well, this line here, he's heading down on top of that 8 and 9 ball if he plays this straight as it is. He's left it short, but he's got a cut on the 9, on the 8, sorry. Straight in 9, and it should be 3-1. So we're into rack number 5. Liquid at the table with a 3 racks to 1 lead. Needs to leave the angle off this 3 ball. And he's got the angle. 5 ball up the table in the wide open spaces. Needs to miss the bump in the 9. And he's not only missed the bump in the 9, he's missed the pot in the 4. And that cue ball spinning in behind the 5, more or less. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he's got the cover. Now, this is a long distance to jump a ball and get any impetus into that 4, but he's actually played that very well. Apart from the fact he's got no great shot in the 5 other than a dodgy cut again. Or a bank. Hampered over that 9 ball slightly, I think. Well, Stefan is under a bit of pressure here to stay in this match because, 3-1 going to 4-1, you'd think his chances are slim. Well, fairly straightish into the centre pocket or the middle pocket. And that gets Stefan back in touch. Seven into the side. No shot in the 1, I don't think. Well, there is if you want to play a crazy cut, but he's trying to marry the cue ball onto the 8. Hasn't quite got it as tight as he would like, but it's more than enough. Well, Liquid thinks he can jump this. Well, he's not going to get to a rail, so a chance for Stefan here. Again, a table where there isn't a problem with any ball. The only ball that'll be a problem is the cue ball, and he's overhit that a wee bit. It's just giving himself more work to do for the next shot. Oh, that rattled. It wiped his feet, and he's a bit short in the 4. Looks as if he's going to be colliding with the 5. I don't know whether he can avoid it or not. Yeah, and he's a mile away in that 4 ball. And he's flicked to 5 in the other side pocket. Well, that's one way to deal with a situation, but he's going to have to come up with another one here. And that's a terrible shot. That's what I talk about, Stefan. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think we had all 3 there in the space of 3 shots. And that was certainly the ugly one. He's left Liquid in with a chance to get to the hill here. And that's not a bad shot, other than he might be hindered a bit with this 8 ball. Well, good evening to Semi-Pro. I'm just testing this old Xsplit Gamecaster software, which I actually bought years ago. I paid for it outright years and years ago. Now again, Liquid's putting loads of English in the cue ball for no apparent reason. And of course that's why he ends up missing the 6 ball. This is again where players don't think on their feet. They try and, they don't know their limitations, trying to do far too much with the cue ball. And Stefan in turn is handing it back to Liquid. Well, if you want it handed in a plate to you, Liquid, this is as good as you're going to get. Just roll the 8 in. You don't even need to think about the cue ball. That's all you have to do, is just roll the 8 ball into the hole. So Liquid will very well be on the hill, and Stefan has got it all to do if he's going to take this all the way. So the Black Ball World Championships start on August the 26th. We've already got 4 or 5 names in. There's a limited sign up. It's a maximum of 32. So if you want in, get in, and get in quick. Well, Stefan played the jump there. The 6 ball ended up going in. 1 ball stays over the pocket. And again, he shouldn't do any more than drop the 2 ball in and leave a 3 ball long down the rail. Well, again, he can just, he's looking at the line for the 4 ball past the 8 into this bottom left corner. So I think he's pretty much got there with the cue ball, and 5 balls over the left side. Again, absolutely no excuse not to get out here. This is the most difficult shot he's got. He's got to avoid the 9, because if he lands on the 9, he's going to have no great shot in the 7. So he's stunned the cue ball across. Not too bad. 7 ball into the side. And then he's got to decide whether he's going to come back up the table or stay below the 8. And now he's trying to get cute. He's drawn into the 8 and almost killed it. We're well into bedhead territory here with the cut, and goodness knows where the cue ball's ending up. Well, I think he's given himself a shot. That's pretty damn good. That is pretty good. Almost dug himself out the hole, but he's still got to pot the 9. And it wiped his feet, but it goes in. Back to within 1. Well, something went in. I don't know what it was. Was it the 5 ball? No. No, the 8 ball's gone. Shot in the 1. Well, again, Stefan trying to do acrobatics to free up the 2 ball. Misses the 1. Well, again, I know what I'm doing here. I'm spinning that cue ball down behind the 2 if I can, or at least that's what I'm trying. And send that 2 ball into the middle of the table somewhere. But Liquid decides he's going all out for the pot. Ends up scratching. And he's given Stefan a gift of an opportunity here. This is what I keep saying. You've just got to wind it in. It wasn't the simplest of cuts into the side. He got the cut, but the cue ball was under absolutely no control. And he could be made to pay the price. And I think it all clinches in this shot here. He's got to just stay below the 5 ball and have a line where he's dropping right behind that 6, whether it be from the top side or whether he can. I think he can actually play it as it is. I think that's perfect. That's fine. You can just stop the cue ball there. Play the 6 up the rail. And maybe just pop out for the long 7. Right, let's have a look at what he's left himself. Well, you've got to get into this cue ball. Now, is he running forward and going round angles? See, if he just plays a good stun and a draw, he can get down onto the 9. Now he's running and risking a scratch. He's risking a scratch. Commentator's eye. There you go. You see, again, you've got to see the simpler way to do things. The simple way was to get a bit of draw into it and come down, on this side of the 9. I think the angle was there to do it, but he decided he wanted to do it the acrobatic way, and he ends up paying the price by selling out, and it's a 5-3 win for Liquid and a tournament win for Liquid on the 10-foot table. Right, folks, that's ending the proceedings tonight. That is just a test to see if the old Gamecaster would work. Yes, it does, but unfortunately, my on-screen chat doesn't work. And so I have to use my phone. So at least I know it works in an emergency if we have to use it again. So until we meet again, which should be Sunday evening at 8 o'clock for the match between Albinario and Spectre Dawn, I hope you can join us. Race to 15, remember, on that one-loss side, and the winner will play Cobra in the final. So until we meet again, I'll bid you good night and see you soon.